The religious freedom, and I want to play a soundbite. This is the incident that kicked everything off about a month ago now, and of course it's Governor Mike Pence on air with George Stephanopoulos, and this sparked a firestorm like, Bill, I don't think, and Eric, you've been watching it too, and I have a headline or two here I want to share that I never thought I would see. Here's a headline from the New York Times. New York Times writer, Christians must be made to embrace the gay lifestyle. In the wake of the Indiana Donnybrook over religious liberty, which somehow was transformed overnight into a question of gay rights, it couldn't be long before the New York Times weighed in against Christians. Yet who could have expected the draconian measures the Times would propose? Either Christians fully embrace the gay lifestyle, or you will be coerced into doing so. Op-ed writer Frank Bruni, gay activist, has written that Christians who hold on to ossified, biblically based beliefs regarding sexual morality have no place at America's table and are deserving of no particular regard. I could go on. I don't need to. Let me play this very short soundbite of Stephanopoulos and Pence, which kicked this, not that this thing hasn't been going on forever, but in the last month anyway, into overdrive.
Governor Mike Pence joins us now. Good morning, Governor. Thank you for joining us. So was it a mistake to sign this law?
Absolutely not. The Religious Freedom Restoration Act was signed into federal law by President Bill Clinton more than 20 years ago, and it lays out a framework for ensuring that a very high level of scrutiny is given anytime government action impinges on the religious liberty of any American. After that, some 19 states followed that, adopted that statute, and after last year's Hobby Lobby case, Indiana properly brought the same version that then state Senator Barack Obama voted for in Illinois before our legislature, and I was proud to sign it into law last week. But look, I think I understand that there's been a tremendous amount of misinformation and misunderstanding around this bill, and I'm just determined, and I appreciate the time on your program, I'm just determined to clarify this. Well, this is about protecting the religious liberty of people of faith and families of faith across this country. That's what it's been for more than 20 years, and that's what it is now as the law in Indiana, George.
But I think one of the problems that people have pointed out is that in Indiana, your civil rights laws don't include sexual orientation as a protected class, and even some of the supporters of the bill who appeared with you when you signed the bill, Eric Miller of Advance America, wrote that it will protect those who oppose gay marriage. He put up this example. He said, Christian bakers, florists, and photographers should not be punished for refusing to participate in a homosexual marriage. So this is a yes or no question. Is Advance America right when they say a florist in Indiana can now refuse to serve a gay couple without fear of punishment?
Well, let me explain to you. The purpose of this bill is to empower, and has been for more than 20 years, George. This is not speculative. The purpose of this legislation, which is the law in all 50 states in our federal courts, and it's the law by either statute or court decisions in some 30 other states, is very simply to empower individuals when they believe that actions of government impinge on their constitutional First Amendment freedom of religion. And frankly, George, there's a lot of people across this country who, you're looking at Obamacare and the Hobby Lobby decision, looking at other cases, who feel that their religious liberty is being infringed upon. And the Religious Freedom Restoration Act at the federal level and all the states now, including Indiana, who have it, are simply about addressing that. This is not about discrimination. This is about empowering people to confront government overreach, George.
Though, on it, because your supporters say it would. And so yes or no? If a florist in Indiana refuses to serve a gay couple at their wedding, is that legal now in Indiana?
George, this is where this debate has gone with misinformation and frankly,
it's just a question, sir. Yes or no?
Well, there's been shameless rhetoric about my state and about this law and about its intention all over the internet.
Bill Koenig, where do you see this going?
I don't see it going in the right direction, Jan. So here's the triumvirate. Number one, the LGBT activists with the help of the White House and the Attorney General. The second component to that is the liberal media, which is anywhere from 85 to 90% of U.S. media who are doing everything they can to be in lockstep with this agenda. And number three, unfortunately, some of our largest corporations in America, Fortune 500 companies, have also joined this group. So we see the pressure on states to comply, whether it's economic extortion, financial extortion. I mean, it's a form of extortion, I should put it that way. And those three groups have a lot of power and influence in America, and they will wear down the opposition, or attempt to.
You know, it really doesn't matter what the facts are. That's the problem.
Yeah.
Yep.
That the facts are being disregarded. It's how it's being portrayed in the sound bites. Because in the world we're in today, the sound bites is what counts, sadly. And this particular article that we've talked about that was written by this fellow from the New York Times, and it just shows this is exactly why this kind of law or this kind of protection is needed. And let's never forget this. The people who claim to be or use the word Christian when they describe themselves, many of them are the ones leading the charge on the other side.
Correct.
It is the Bible believers that are in trouble. And that, of course, as we know, the remnant is a smaller portion of those who claim to be Christians today.
I want to make a couple of other quotes here, please, to kind of build and solidify what we're saying. Then we're going to move on to some other topics here. But Frank Turek, he's an award-winning author, co-author of I Don't Have to Have Enough Faith to Be an Atheist and some other books. He says this. I found it interesting. Now, if you don't agree to celebrate same-sex marriage, believers in this new religion will commence an inquisition and without trial punish you for heresy. That's why this legislation is necessary. Florists, bakers, photographers, etc., and speakers like myself have all discovered personally that the people who say they are fighting for tolerance are often the most intolerant. And Mark Tooley of Institute for Religion and Democracy says, kudos for the nearly 30,000 who gave almost $1 million, just under $1 million, to the Christian family owners of Memories Pizza in Indiana after a virtual lynch mob of ostensible opponents of discrimination forced the business to close when an ambush reporter dared to say they would not cater a same-sex ritual. Future lynch mobs will target more Christian-owned businesses for their refusal to defy secular groupthink. And Tooley concludes, the body of Christ in America, with all persons who favor free speech, will need to rally to their defense if America is to remain the land of the free and the home of the brave. Bill Koenig, you want to wrap up this segment?
No, that's excellent. I met Mark a couple of years ago and saw him a few weeks ago at an event here in Washington for Israel. He is spot on. Extremely well written. This is a major war. Jan, I'm not optimistic at this point. I think this is just another indicator, a final day indicator.
Yes.
And I don't know how this tsunami could be stopped, but we just have to keep speaking the truth, the biblical truth, and let God take care of the details.
Jan, if we're not careful, political correctness is going to shape the doctrines and practice of the church all the way through the church. That's what's happening here. And this case in Indiana with the pizza parlor, that's a great example of newsmen becoming the newsmakers. They went out looking for that story to get somebody to say something they could use. And we see, we know what happened with that story. I'm blessed about the $1 million that came in too.
Amen.
That should speak loud and clear to the opposition.